I have lived in Canada for over 25 years. That is a long time, filled with highs and lows. And so today, I will be sharing with you a quick recap of these 25 years, my Canadian dream, the journey so far, and what comes next. My husband and I decided way back, maybe like 30 years ago, that we wanted to leave our home country, Nigeria, and explore the world out there. We were young, we were just married back then, and we wanted to go out of our comfort zone of what we grew up in and see the world. There was nothing like Japa at that time, and I think Nigeria was relatively okay back then, but we just wanted to go on an adventure. And we took a look at many different options. We had some family members that lived abroad back then, and so we looked at the UK, we looked at Australia, we looked at other options. And finally, as relatively newlyweds with a baby on the way, I was like almost 9 months pregnant at that time. We took our journey from Nigeria with wide open eyes, knowing that we were going to have to start all over again, and knowing that, the weather is very cold in Canada, and we didn't know anybody in Canada except for my husband's old uni mate that we knew back then. And so began our journey to Canada. I remember that first year with a newborn and my husband working the transition job to support all three of us. And I had to stay home with the baby for about 6 months before I started looking for a job. And I remember walking the downtown of my city looking for work, battling with no Canadian experience, putting in my resume, applying to different positions, going for interviews. And as I walked the downtown, I looked up those buildings and would think to myself, people work in these buildings, people work here, so why can't I? You finally get in front of somebody for an interview and they tell you, I'm sorry, but you don't have any Canadian experience. It was really tough, but finally I did get my first job in an IT consulting company, and that was how I started my career here in Canada. My husband also completed all his required exams and he was able to start his career as well. In a couple of years, we were both settled, expanded our family, and have since gone back to school, gotten another master's, as well as in the IT industry, multiple certifications just to improve myself, public speaking courses, I've talked about that a lot on this channel, to improve my communication skills and just adapt to the new environment that we found ourselves. On this journey, we have met incredible people. And just to mention a few of them, shout out to all those who took a chance on us when we first landed and were looking for our first jobs. I remember Deborah, shout out to you. She gave me my first job. Very nice white lady who took a chance on me and gave me that first job. There was also Mina, a grandmother who took us like her own children and helped us in those first few months after we arrived. She took us in like our own family, would invite us to her house for meals, helped us to get like mattresses, household utensils that we started out with back then 25 years ago. Yeah, shout out to them. And having settled into our first jobs, we bought a house like any good Nigerian couple would. We bought a house, and after that we moved on to a bigger house because the family was expanding, and then to another house. And so we have moved house like 3 times in the same city. We have also learned how to invest our money. It's not just work and spend. You have to think about the future, how to multiply your resources, how to build a nest egg. Over the years, we have invested in many things, many through which we have gotten burned. As new immigrants, people will approach you with different opportunities, like multi-level marketing opportunities, invest in this and invest in that. And of course, there's the stock market. We put our money in the stock market. Sometimes we were burned, sometimes we did very well. We put our money investing in real estate. Don't let anybody tell you it's not all real estate investments that are positive. Everybody talks about real estate as if you can never go wrong with real estate. Yeah, real estate investments are good, but sometimes you can get burnt. You just have to know what you're doing, do the right thing and follow the right steps, and then you can benefit from real estate. But it's not always rosy. I have stories. And I think I've shared some of them on this channel as well. But yeah, we did invest in all that. And today we have our home paid off, and I did share about that as well, because it is possible to pay off your mortgage and to experience financial freedom, even as an immigrant. I absolutely loved my jobs that I had. So I told you about the first one in the consulting company. And then after that, I got my absolute dream job at the time. And then after so many years, I lost that job. I was laid off from that job. That is a story for another day. I'll be telling that story on this channel as well. So yeah, I got laid off, and it was some other fantastic, just great people that helped me. You know, people I met along my career. When I was laid off, they were the ones that came to my help and referred me to other jobs. At that time, after I lost my job, the next job I got was in Edmonton, so I had to move. So sometimes you do have to think outside the box and do certain things that may not be comfortable just for that period. So for that period, almost a year, I was working out of town, coming back on the weekends. And I did have younger children at that time, but somehow we made it work. And I finally was able to get another job, which is the job I work in today. So fast forward to present day, the children are now adults, and my husband and I are settled in our careers and enjoying our jobs and pursuing different interests to make an impact on our world in our own little way. And like I always say in these videos, working on making it the best days of our lives every day. I am honestly grateful for the opportunity of these past 25 years and for the journey so far. Have there been hard times? Have there been ups and downs? Yes. Have there been disappointments? Have there been times that I've wished that I have done things differently? Definitely. In fact, I remember one time that I was like, why did I ever come to this country? That was in the first year. If you have following me on this channel, you know that before we left Nigeria, I actually got a big job back in Nigeria that I left, and I had to tell them that I couldn't start that job. And in that first year, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Like, why am I here? So yeah, there have been ups and many downs as well. But do I regret any part of this 25 years? Absolutely not. I do not regret any part of this 25 years. I will do it over again and do the same thing over again. This life is not perfect. Wherever you are in life, there's always pros and cons. You win some and you lose some, right? So you just have to do your best, depend on God, and be contented with what you have. And so what next? In terms of Jakpada, that is moving back home to Nigeria, my thoughts are that I would go back to the very beginning, Genesis. Abraham left his home country and went to another country that God led him to. And since that time, people have migrated. People have moved from one place to another place. People have moved all over the world. And that is never going to end. Even if today Nigeria becomes the dream that we all hope for, it's a place where there's good governance, there's employment for the youth, there is good healthcare, there's good infrastructure, and especially good governance. If Nigeria becomes like that today, people will still leave Nigeria. People will still move to other places for whatever reason. And people will still move to Nigeria as well, just like it happens in any other country, like the top countries in the world, like Norway and all those countries. People still leave those countries and migrate to other parts of the world for whatever reason. So Jakpa and Jakpada will never end. It will always happen. And that is the truth. We've had friends that we came here together who've moved back to Nigeria. Some people move back to Nigeria and then come back. Some people move back to Nigeria and they stay there and they are thriving and they are doing well. For me, I think in terms of Jakpada, time will tell. But what shall we say to these things? Like the Bible says, what shall we say to these things? For me and for you watching, I would say that we should make sure that we are not wagwala goshishe. Like, don't run your life based on another man's clock, right? Stay on your own lane. What is your vision? What is your passion? What is your conviction in life? What is your purpose? These are the very important questions that we need to ask ourselves in terms of our life's journey. And what path do we have to follow in order to fulfill that purpose, in order to follow that conviction? And the ultimate purpose of all that is so that we can impact our world, so that we can make a difference in our world, in the lives of the people around us. So how are you making that difference? How are you making that impact in your own little corner? Doesn't matter where you are in the world. What are you doing to make the world a better place? And that is different for each person. Just like, the Yoruba people will say that as different as the lines on the palm of our hands are, that is how that purpose, that path for everybody is different. And that is what I think we should pursue. So in conclusion, 25 years abroad, is it worth it? My answer is, it is definitely worth it. My prayer is that God will grant us all wisdom so that we can fulfill His purpose for our lives. Amen. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me again. I would really like to know what you think. I know it's been like a philosophical one today, kind of. But I would like to know what you think about these thoughts that I've shared today. Do you agree or disagree with anything that I've said? I would love to know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload new videos. And also stay tuned to this channel for much more interesting content coming your way. Until I come your way again, until the next video, you go out and make it the best days of your life. Bye. And if you're curious about living life abroad, then click to watch this next video.